Need some fast, cheap, reliable MUT coins? Go to MMOXP.com and use discount code MONEYSHOT for 5% off your order. Link in the description below. Welcome back, YouTubers and Madden fans. This is Mad Money Shot, snipping out the Madden cheese as always. Got another tip video for you today. We're focusing on defense. In today's video, I'm going to show you some things that you can do pre-snap, things that you probably should be doing just about every single play pre-snap that can essentially guarantee that you'll win that play. A lot of things in Madden can really be decided before the play even starts if you know how to make the proper adjustments, and that's what this video is going to be about. So today, I'm going to give you 8 total adjustments that you can make pre-snap before the play even starts that will pretty much guarantee that you can win that play. So starting off on the defensive side, first thing we're going to look at is the coaching adjustments. I don't think there's enough people out there that use the coaching adjustments, so I'm going to break down exactly what you should be doing with the coaching adjustments. Number one, the auto flip play defensive play call thing, that should be off. You should set that before you go into the game in the overall settings in Madden, but if you haven't, make sure that that is always off. As far as auto alignment, I know a lot of people that really like to come out in a base defense look. I'm not one of them. I think there's some disadvantages that can be had, but it's not a bad look if you're playing somebody that knows how to read a defense, which most people should know how to do. And then when it comes to playing the ball in the air, I almost always put it to play ball. Play receivers if you want to try to knock the ball out of the receiver's hands once they catch it, but I'd much rather get turnovers, so I always put it to play ball. And then when you go to the cornerback matchups, if they have a really fast receiver on their team, say they have a Tyreek Hill or something like that, I definitely want to go by speed, because having a huge speed disadvantage can mean you're giving up big touchdowns. So if they don't have a great receiver like that, a speed receiver like that, matching by overall is typically one of the ways to go. Now the last thing you have is tackling and strip ball. You don't typically want to do this too often, but if you want to try to get a turnover, putting it too aggressive for a few plays can help. If you leave it on there too long, you can end up with some face mask penalties, and it's not ultimately worth it. So moving on to substitutions. Now this is something you want to maximize your roster. You want to maximize your defense. You want to make sure that you're always making substitutions to get speed in the right places. Now one of them is going to be at the middle linebacker spot. If you're a user middle linebacker, you're going to want to make sure that you have one of your fastest guys there. So here I'm going to take Adrian Amos out of coverage. Typically want to put him at middle linebacker. He's a 92 speed safety. You can see right here, if I don't have that speed where I want it, I'm not going to be able to cover the way that I want to. So I'll typically, if I'm running a defense like this where it's an all-out man blitz, I'll put a cornerback at a safety spot knowing that they're going to have a higher man coverage than the safety. Then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put that safety at the user middle linebacker knowing that it'll allow me as a user to cover more space. So you always want to make sure you have speed at the right places when it comes to your user, when it comes to your blitzers, like here in the Mike Blitz 0. I want to make sure that I have my fastest guys at the defensive end outside linebacker spots, because those are the guys I'm going to be trying to get pressure with. Also, if you're running corner blitzes, make sure your fastest cornerbacks are in the blitzing spots. I know it's counterintuitive. A lot of people think you should have your best cornerbacks outside in coverage, but you really want to make sure that you have the speed to get around the corner and stop the play in the backfield. That's what professional players do. That's one of the smartest ways to go. If you run a lot of blitzes out of a 3-4 package, same thing. Say you pick a team that has a 4-3 personnel. Say you pick a team like the Niners, but you want to get a lot of pressure. Make sure that you put those fast defensive ends at the appropriate outside linebacker position so you can still use your favorite 3-4 defensive playbook. You don't have to match personnel. If I come out, the defensive ends don't get a lot of pressure in 3-4 packages, so it makes no sense to leave them there. So like I said, make sure whatever your blitzer is, you want to make sure you always have the fastest guy there. You can see right here, just gets around the edge, gets a sack. That's going to be the most consistent way to do it. That's my second best corner in Rod Woodson coming off the edge. A lot of people put their best cornerback there. A lot of people put Deion Sanders there. If you have a Deion Sanders, you've seen pro players do it quite a bit. They'll use that max speed advantage to get around that edge. Now, next up, we also have personnel previews. I don't think enough people use the personnel preview window here. You should always wait to see what your opponent picks on offense before you pick your play, and you should always try to match that. So, I shouldn't say always. If it's a first down like it is here, I'm going to try to match my opponent's personnel. If they come out anything less than a 3-wide receiver set, it usually means that they're going to be running the ball in Madden 20 based off of the fact that running is so overpowered. Now, if your opponent comes out in a situation like 3rd and 11, 4th and 11, 4th and long, whatever, I don't care what their personnel package is on offense, because you can pretty much guarantee they're going to have to pass for it to get the first down. So that's pretty much the only scenario where I'm going to disregard that. I don't have to pay attention to what they're showing me on the offensive side, because I know that the easiest way to get that first down is going to be through the air. So that's a scenario where I would ignore that, but other than that, it's a really good indicator on what your opponent's trying to do on offense. Next up, we also have shading zones. This is something I don't think enough people do as well. On pretty much a down-to-down basis, you're going to always want to either shade your coverage to a over-the-top coverage or an underneath coverage. Now, on this particular play, I have a cloud flat based off of the fact that we have a 5 wide receiver set. So that's a pretty aggressive look to me. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be throwing, they're going to be passing, essentially trying to pass deep. So I go ahead and I match that and I shade over the top. If it's something that, soft squats to me, if you don't really know what they're doing, like a first down like I have here, that's a good opportunity to leave it where it could be a high pass or a low pass, and then I can just kind of leave it as is. I think soft squats are pretty good coverage no matter what you're looking at. Now, if it gets into a more predictable situation like a 2nd and 16, I should probably start thinking about, shading over the top once again. 3rd and long, you know where they have to throw the ball. This particular situation, I did not. You can see right there, it worked out. It covers pretty well over the top and underneath. Now, in run defense, shading underneath can really help. If you run a hard flat in a cover 2, the cornerbacks are going to play down a lot better. See here, he doesn't drop back too far, and Deion Sanders, who's not really a great run defender, comes up and makes the play because he was shaded underneath and pressed. He didn't go back far enough to the point where he was a liability in run coverage. Another adjustment that's key in run coverage is going to be shifting and spreading your offensive line and defensive line. Now, you can take a look right here. The over-ed, the 4-3, there's a reason nobody uses these coverages because they don't have the appropriate spread like the 3-4 bear, the 3-4 even, defenses like this. They're just spread much better apart, and that's why people prefer to use these type of defenses. On this next particular play, I'm going to use something out of the 3-4 bear because of the spread that it has. My opponent's in a 2 tight end set. He's trying to maintain the outside leverage of the offensive tight ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread everything. I'm going to spread to get that advantage back. And you can see right here, I even use my defensive end or my outside linebacker out even more to make sure that he maintains that edge. And then I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to take away this gap just in case he tries to run it to that side. So you can see basically, he threw it on that play, but you can see the way that I'm setting up my defense every time is I'm going to spread my defense. So I have my defensive ends outside of his offensive linemen and offensive tight ends, and I'm going to try to take away gaps as much as possible. If you do that, your run defense will be much better without even trying. So the next thing I'm looking for on the offensive side is tells. If your opponent comes out and they start, Omaha, they start, the quarterback starts motioning and moving, and the more they do that, the more obvious it is a pass. Now on defense, I'm not making any adjustments, but you can see my opponent is, and that's because my run defense was set up so well that he knew he had nowhere to run, and that makes it pretty obvious he's going to pass. It's a pretty easy guess, and I just, I take it away and make a user pick. It's really simple. The more your opponent's quarterback moves, the more obvious it is that it's going to be a pass play. Now, on the other side too, gap stacking is something that you can do on every single play that will make every single blitz better. And that whether that's running the ball or whether that's passing the ball, anytime you get a free defender in, it's going to make the play that much better. You can see right here, all I'm going to do, step in front of the center, pull him till he's standing up and blocking nobody, and that's going to be, essentially the way that you can get a lot of free rushers. That was actually a 6-man blitz. I only had 4 guys going in, and we got the sack. On the next play, same thing. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to QB contain. That's also something you can do that is always going to make a blitz better. QB containing and guessing pass are going to make them go to the quarterback that much faster as well. Once again, I come down, stack the gap. Essentially, it's a 5-on-5 blitz. I get a free rusher. That's something that I'm going to get every single time. So here we go once again. QB containing, bringing this guy down just into the gap. Just to take away that any blocking disadvantage I can get. Any guy that I can pull to pay attention to me before I drop into coverage. As you can see right here, I get back into coverage. I get a free rusher right off the side. That's always going to be an advantage. It's always going to give me a 1-up when it comes to stopping plays. And then, like I said, even against run plays, if you have a free defender coming in, whether it's a pass play or a run play, it's going to be a huge advantage. Here, once again, all I'm going to try to do is just try to get somebody to pay attention to me, somebody to stand up, someone to shift their assignment. A lot of times you'll see, like right here, these guys shift into a double team, even though no double teams really required, because he was paying attention to me, and then when I drop out of the play, there's no real reason for him to go anywhere else. He's already beat by the defensive end, so they just shifts to a double team to take on a defensive end that never would have made a play anyway. So it's that simple. Also, when it comes to gap stacking, it's not always about using right over the middle. Like in this particular play, I gap stack in a different way. I just bring this guy in closer. You're going to see right here how the left tackle is going to pay attention to him, and then I drop back and the left tackle ends up blocking nobody. That's something that, you know, this is a win. Anytime you can get this look, you're always going to get the win, and you're going to get somebody on the other side doing this where he's just flying off the edge and he's in the quarterback's ear. So that's it. That's the video. If you guys want to see the offensive version of this video, do me a favor, hit the like button or let me know in the comment section and I'll do that video next. And that's it. Other than that, thanks for watching, man. Money Shot out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.